we're still doing the long distance thing. We're still in different states and we're still navigating what that looks like. And but at the same time, our missions that are so much bigger than just our human selves has been calling us forward. And the more we step in and lean in and feel into it and talk about it and share what's real for us and get excited for what we want to bring forward, the more, I guess, we're landing in it, so much quicker. And that's why we wanted to share this on this episode, that there's going to be a lot of epic stuff coming to fruition next year when that butterfly spreads its wings.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Enlighten podcast, the enlightened journey of life. Because we're not just here to chase enlightenment, we are here to live life, to embody all aspects of ourselves, to bring the sacred into every day. I'm your host, Jen Hamilton, self-mastery mentor, Tantra guide, and sacred rebel at heart. This podcast is a devotion to the art of knowing thyself. Through solo snippets, raw musings, and deep conversations with epic guests, we explore the sacred, the sensual, and the spiritual, diving deep into self-exploration and always leaving you with something to take away. This isn't just a podcast, it's a portal to awaken, to liberate, to remember who you truly are. It is an honor to have you here. Let's get enlightened. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Enlightenment podcast. I'm your host, Jen, with my beautiful partner, Cass here. Hey, babe.
Hey there. It's great to be here again.
I know. We said like 20 episodes ago, like I introduced you into the podcast and I said, yeah, Cass is going to be part of the podcast. And so far we haven't been able to make that happen because every trip that we've been together, it's been quite full with other things, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're just distracted, weren't we? With each other.
With the hickeys on my neck, maybe. You can see in the video what that distraction was. But we wanted to share an episode today because we're actually wrapping up season 3 at the moment, which is really exciting because I've had some incredible guests on the show and they've all been in-person guests, which was something really important to me this episode, that I share people's energy, that I got to meet people in real life as well that were connected to me in my circle. And I'm so incredibly grateful for not only the guests, but all of the listeners out there as well. I guess I wanted to bring Cass onto the show for this episode as well, because we have been in some really big discussions in the last little while about what it looks like to really work together in this space, because we are both Tantra facilitators. I stepped more into the Tantra teaching space, and Cass is going to be joining me moving forward in that the teaching space as well. And he's also recently become a coach and mentor available through Sanctuary of Self, which is exciting. And what we wanted to do is to share a little bit today about what that looks like with Cass being on board moving forward, because not only is he my partner, but he's also a very wise, creative, intelligent, and just beautiful soul. Not to make you blush too much. We've got to get your head on the plane this evening to go back home to Perth, so we won't inflate it too big. But Cass, I really wanted you to share with the listeners, like, what is it that really led you into this space of, I guess, being of service and in the personal development and the tantric space?
Well, it's definitely founded from my own journey. I spent a lot of years, probably nearly 30 years seeking for something more and seeking to understand my own self and just searching for answers, searching everywhere, leaning into this modality, that modality, this conversation, that conversation. I'll do this exercise. I'll pursue this distraction. And I've pursued all the distractions in my life. And at the end of the day, I circled right back to sitting with myself. And that's where all the answers were the whole time I was trying to distract myself. And so I guess I look at my journey and having worked with other people, I get to really, I become privileged to see the blocks that other people have in their yearning and desire to create more of their own lives and find their purpose and contentment and fulfillment and all those common words. They're the things that I like to support people in trying to find within themselves, because I know for me it's been a journey, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and that whole path led me to be where I am today. And I was only saying to Jen yesterday, it was like, you know, if I only had some really strong positive role models throughout my life, my life would have been, yeah, would have been different. It would have been different. I'm very happy where I am today. There's no doubt about that. But I think I would have found a lot more direction on the path I wanted to lead in my life, and that's become really special to me. And I guess it's a privilege to be able to support other people along that journey. I think there's so many topics evolving around men that are unspoken. They can be very taboo, and you know, I think leaning into the tantric space and trying to attract more men into this as well, which is if we can do this, and if I can cultivate that and track men to learn more about themselves and learn more about intimacy, it actually ticks many of the boxes that they don't even know that they're seeking to start with. And if they only knew this, you know, many people wouldn't be, I guess, throwing themselves into the pursuits that they do, looking for this really short amount of fulfillment and joy in these very short moments. But there is a way to cultivate that so it's always there within you and it's long term, and you can tap into that anytime you like. But it's just a matter of, like, I guess, understanding a few of the tools and really listening to yourself and being able to tune into that, and then understanding yourself. Like, it always comes back to that. And once we do that, you know, we can lead through life with a whole lot more peace and flow and grace. So, you know, I really hope that that's something that we get to cultivate next year and promote.
Yeah. And tell us about, like, because when you and I first connected, we had a lot in common. I had done NLP, hypnotherapy. You were going down that path as well. So we're both you know, self-confessed certificate collectors and just being drawn to all of the modalities. So tell us about the modalities that you have under your belt and also that you love to use to work with people.
Well, most recently, you know, I'm really enjoying the modality of Tantra. Like, Tantra is so expansive and it ticks so many boxes along the path. It, like, brings so much together. Along with that, there was, I guess, the study of, for me, a little bit of hypno, and then NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And what that really outlined for me was really understanding the subconscious mind and those limiting beliefs that really limit our everyday life. And most of them, we don't even know they exist. And so that was really insightful by myself. And what it did then, it taught me language that was so obvious that I saw all around me in all people. It's like the language spoken beneath the words that is not spoken. You know, that was something really amazing. I guess also I have a bit of experience with plant medicine, and I guess I see people with many challenges in getting through the other side of that, through those short-lived experiences, and especially with support of others. And I see huge value and impact, because once you're exposed to this space and you see the change you can promote within people, and I guess with just a little bit of guidance, you know, steering things back for people to explore their own selves, it's hard not to want to continue that in life. So yeah, that's definitely been something quite large for me. And then recently, most recently, I've been following the work of Kabbalah, and that's been incredibly insightful. And yet again, it's another practice that rolls all the other modalities into one. You know, I facilitate breath work as well. And all these moments are opportunities to pause in our lives and become a little bit introspective, and then find the answers we're seeking in. So all those combined, you know, can provide such a powerful modality.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, because there's so many ways in which, you know, you and I, we realize, obviously through conversation, through our relationship, that we can support other people. And we kind of danced around, you know, working together for a little bit. I guess we both saw it from the beginning, and we both, you know, lent in, sort of dipped our toe in, dipped our toe out to really decide that this is what we want to do together, because it is a big deal to work together, you know, with your partner, because you don't separate things then as well. It's not like you go to work, I go to work, catch you at 5 p.m. when we get home and we'll have a beer together, because we don't drink beer. But I guess because what we see in each other is that we can amplify each other's, I guess, dharma. Like, I love the word dharma, and I feel as though the work that I do, it's a sole purpose. Like, it's a calling for me. And I guess I always had the desire to work with someone eventually. And it was never like, oh, I must find someone into the same thing. And it's kind of just evolved for us.
Hasn't it? Absolutely. Do you find that me being in your life this past, well, over 12 months now, has influenced your trajectory of working with people?
It has. And I think more so in the Tantra space as well, because knowing what we get to cultivate in our relationship, knowing the places that we can take things, knowing how much the teachings and the practices of Tantra have amplified what we get to experience in our relationship, knowing that we can share that with other people. It's almost like it's a disservice not to share it. That's how it feels. Like it feels as though if we weren't to pass this wisdom on, it would be really selfish of us.
Yeah. Like, I can definitely speak for myself in this space, and I feel like together we have grown exponentially, and we've applied so much of what we do know within our own relationship that has allowed us to go so much deeper and relate and understand each other. So it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful opportunity to be putting this into practice quite regularly.
Yeah. And like, we know this because we've already started working with couples. So we love working with couples. Like, couples are fun to work with because you see people just connect on a level that they may never have connected into before. And, even with individuals, like, it's that magical moment where you just see this like little shift, which is actually such a monumental shift.
Oh, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, because we watch the unfolding of that as we go. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. And so, next year, 2026, we're already looking at what that looks like to, travel around and do our teachings all over Australia. We're looking at, hosting retreats. We're looking at online programs for those that can't join us in person. And so it just feels super aligned. And this podcast will be shifting ever so slightly. So the underlying message has always been, to live life. Like, don't just chase enlightenment, live your life. It's the enlightened journey of life. And we don't want to just, be a monk on top of a mountain meditating. Like, that is so incredibly boring. There's so much that we get to live and experience here. And through self-awareness and self-mastery, we actually get to really make it our own. We get to use all of these different tools that we have to have a different experience. And if we can continue to go inwards within ourselves and just, it's so wanky. I get it. We say it all the time, but do the work, unravel the limiting beliefs, unravel the parts of ourselves that feel stuck, understand our inner dialogue and how that's potentially keeping us stuck. When we have awareness of all of those things, plus so much more, life's incredible. Like, I'd love for you to share, Cass, what your life was like before stepping into the personal development space and truly understanding yourself, then what that catalyst was. Like, what was we'll call it your glory moment. Like, what was it that like brought you home to yourself, and what does life look like for you now, knowing all of these things?
And for me, it was the catalyst was really tired of my own thoughts and the ruminating thoughts and going round and round in circles. Like, I would have practices in my life that I could hold on tightly to control. I could control what went into my mouth, and I led what I believed at that time to be an optimum diet, the exercise, how I socialized, how I did all the things around me, the work-life balance, but there was always something missing, and something just never sat comfortably within me. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I think my mind's broken. And then I went through all the processes of, maybe I have this disorder, I need this diagnosis. And, I went down all these paths of searching. And like I said a little bit earlier, it all came back to sitting with my own self and then realizing I knew everything within. But but that really happened, I guess, once I started to learn more about the process. And I was never looking, I guess, initially to work with people. That wasn't a thing for me. It was really about understanding who I am and why I think and why I'm leaning to all these pursuits and why relationships aren't working out or why I have specific conflicts in my life, whether it be with friends or family or partners. And I'm like, what's going on? I just don't understand how to do life just about. And then anyway, yeah, that's what led me into this discovery to learning the things I have today. Yeah, just seeking. But finally, I've reached a place where, it's all making sense. I've reached this level of peace where if I have a certain thought or I have a feeling, I have a somatic feeling in my body, I can identify what that is and where it's from. And it's uncomfortable, that process. But on the other side of being so uncomfortable is freedom. So for me to be able to identify those very things are a blessing in themselves, because on the other end of that, it's where we're truly free.
Yeah. What was there for me, it was a self-love retreat. Like that was a huge catalyst to me. Then it was like studying hypnotherapy. Like it was going through a separation with the kid's dad. Like there was some like really big catalyst of change for me. What was yours? Like, was it a plant medicine ceremony? Was it a book you read? Like, tell me about that. This episode of the Enlighten podcast is proudly sponsored by the Sanctuary of Self, your portal to self-discovery and creating a sanctuary within. At the Sanctuary of Self, our philosophy is rooted in the belief that true transformation begins with knowing yourself deeply. Here you will find my signature programs. It's the home of all of my Tantra offerings, including in-person sessions in Brisbane, workshops and trainings all around Australia. I invite you to start with the Flourish Collective membership, a nurturing sanctuary for personal growth and transformation. This membership offers a greenhouse of resources, including workbooks, meditations, and soulful self-paced practices designed to help you cultivate alignment, purpose, and self-love. At only $44 per month with no lock-in contract, you can access an abundance of resources, videos, ebooks, meditations, and workshops with new content added monthly. Head to sanctuaryofself.love for all the juicy details.
Yeah, well, there was a book I read at the beginning a number of years ago, and it's called As a Man Thinketh. And basically, I've never heard these words before, but our thoughts alone determine our reality. And I as I read a few pages in the middle of this book, and it's a very old book, I think it's written in the early 1900s, and it spoke about the cultivation of thoughts in our own mind, and like not letting the garden be filled full of weeds. And as these ill thoughts come in, we look at those, we consider those, but we pull them out and we cultivate positive thought and a positive outlook and positive future. And through all that, it actually cultivates and promotes quite a lot more positive life in us. And that was definitely one thing. And then I moved into the plant medicine space quite a lot. And I did a lot of work here. And I think it was from one of my very early experiences. It illuminated so much for me straight away. I'm like, wow, there's so much more to this in my own mind. And what it did, it allowed me to step back out of my own stuff, out of my own thoughts, and look back in on my life. And I guess outside of the rumination, like it quietened down my mind. And then I looked at it and I was like, wow, I can actually see light through the trees now, which I could not before. And because I had a taste of it in that moment, and because I was surrounded by some, positive, supportive people as well, I went, oh, okay, I finally found the path. This is what I'm seeking. And from that moment forward, which was, a lot of suffering and like, I've had enough, I can't do this anymore, to like, okay, there's a glimmer of hope. I want to be on the other side of that, and I want to cultivate it to be something more.
I feel like you got to get to a point where you're sick of your own shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
If you're not sick of your own shit, you're not there yet. Well, you're not fully there yet.
Oh, totally. Like, we need to be sick of our own shit enough, willing to let it go.
Absolutely.
Willing to surrender and willing to lean into it and say, right, I need to do something about it, because I've been holding on to this story, this narrative, which has become my whole identity. And I've been holding on to this identity for a really long time, and it doesn't serve me anymore. But to release that identity, it's like, who am I now? And what's on the other side of this? But what's on the other side of that can be anything you so choose. Yeah, but it just takes a level of courage to face that fear of letting go, of stepping forward and pulling it apart and go, right, I can let it go, and I can cultivate and create more in my own life.
Yeah. And this is what I love about the work that we do, is that we're not here to be healers. We're not here to fix people. We're here to show people the process of how to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I are so passionate about this, because we both understand the saturation of the personal development space. And, you've probably heard me say in plenty of other episodes before that, this way of healing has become like a subscription model, and it's no different to pharmaceuticals. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need that. Oh, now you've got this symptom, so you need that. We want to teach people tools for absolute empowerment, and it's really interesting. I didn't even know this, but this book that you were referring to, As a Man Thinketh, and the analogy of weeds in the mind, like that's what I teach people in Sanctuary of Self. Like you actually get a choice. Like if you consider your mind like a garden, you're either constantly pulling weeds or you're watering flowers. The choice is yours. So I love that there was like that correlation.
There's
there.
another synchronicity, isn't
Another
it? It's
synchronicity.
Another crossover. Yeah. And also our own language. Like it's really interesting to stand back as a witness and acknowledge the language we speak. Like what sort of energy are the words we are carrying, projecting out into our lives? Is it one of judgment? Is it one of self-judgment, judgment of others? Like there's so many ill forms of speech out there, which I think unless we don't know what we don't know. But once it's in our awareness, we're like, wow, I'm really hard on myself. I'm really hard on my family, my friends, all those people. And that's really like an external sort of reflection of how we're thinking internally. So once we start to acknowledge these things, even the simplest things of creating just awareness of that allows us to pause and step back and going, what have I got to learn in this space?
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, we tend to be just on autopilot, and our subconscious leads us in all these directions and strategies, trying to fulfill us in all these ways.
Based on safety, though, like it's the subconscious, the role of the subconscious to keep us safe. Like that's where all of our belief systems are, all of our values, everything sits in there. And so that's all been pre-programmed in from early days. And so, and you and I, like this week alone that we've had together in Brisbane, studying Kabbalah together, like literally every day we've sat down with a cacao and videos to watch Kabbalah and really absorb the teachings. And what I love about that is the accountability now that we get to hold for each other in this space, because it's not easy being called out on your shit by your partner. I mean, you do that so well.
Yeah.
But it's, and this is the growth, and this is what we hold and value so high in our relationship is growth. And so we wouldn't be in this relationship did we both not value it so highly to begin with. We wouldn't have connected in the same way and been like, you here now.
I've particularly loved recently how, on studying something new together, that after we watch something, we then personally apply that to our own lives.
Yeah.
So we can ask each other and we can say, how do we think that applies to ourselves? And then we have the opportunity to reflect and share that. And it's a beautiful thing to witness as well.
Yeah.
It is. I'm really enjoying seeing that.
Yeah. And there's so much growth that happens constantly as we choose to. Like there's and it's not even about going, next thing to learn, next thing to
Mm.
absorb, next thing. Like it really isn't a homecoming of know thyself. It's all about awareness. And this is the foundation of where we take people, is to truly know thyself. And it's like, we don't have it all mastered and figured out. Like, it's
Oh,
a journey.
it is a journey.
We're not sitting here like on some kind of pedestal saying, fall at our feet, disciples. Not at all. It's just that we're on the journey. We might be, literally only a couple of steps ahead, but we're creating community. We're creating a space for people to come into that says, hey, do you want to learn more about yourself here? Because what does that mean for you? And how does your life get to change and evolve because of that? So,
Yeah, and I think we have to remind people it's not about doing work all the time. Like these practices cultivate like deeper senses of happiness and joy in our lives. Like it's not always focused on doing the work, because life's about experience and doing the human thing and having fun, and it's filled with the whole gamut of emotions. And that's really what we're here for, isn't it? To grow and learn from all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's something that you're looking forward to into, I guess, the future, being a facilitator, working with men a lot? I know that, obviously we love working with couples and into next year. Tell us what's, I guess, really alive for you at the moment. What's exciting you the most about being here?
All right. What really excites me right now, like I love working with couples. Don't get me wrong, and I love seeing people experience the breakthroughs. What I'm leaning towards right now is I'm really looking forward to working with men, having discussions about the taboo topics that men don't talk about. I think there's so little representation of men in this space. And I want to create and cultivate something where men feel really comfortable to show up, like, and give them the opportunity to see that there can be something so much more on the other side of where they're at. And yeah, I think having done that my own self, and I obviously speak to many men all the time, there's just such a lack of offerings for men, I feel, that really develop a deep understanding, especially when it comes down to intimacy and relationships. Like it's all there, but we just don't know how to do it. Like most of us don't. And we're just flying blind. But I think once you illuminate these very things in front of us and start to educate people, it's like, there's this whole other language here that I couldn't see or understand, that all I have to do is tweak this here, tweak that there, really understand and listen to my partner. Like listening's a massive thing.
Sorry, what did you say?
My point exactly. To educate people that don't know how to listen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, as you know, like I love men. I value men and I want the best for men, because I know that, we can be all, fuck the patriarchy and stuff like that. But I also know that there has been this tipping point where the rise of this like feminist movement has really emasculated men. And there's a lot of men that don't know how to share vulnerably, or they share, to share emotions, share how they're feeling, not even share, but even tap in to feel it, like to even know what it is that gets to be shared. And so this is not something I believe as a woman that I have the ability to do for men. I can definitely guide them. And I think it is so important that we have male facilitators, coaches, mentors, leaders that have been doing the work on themselves to lead men through. And this is something that I saw in you literally from day dot.
Oh, beautiful. And I guess one thing that Jen and I have been speaking about the last number of days, or it's been going on weeks for me, is I think the more time I spend in this personal development space, the more I see my language change right now. And then I'm starting to realize that the very people that I want to support don't actually understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's words and phrases and languages, and they're like, yeah, that sounds really cool, but I know what it means. And so I've been focusing on that. And okay, so how can we simplify those messages, and how can we bring it back so it's more relatable? So that's something that's really exciting me right now. And I think particularly with men. And if I look back in my own life, um, I just didn't have a dialogue. I didn't have a dialogue to be able to express my emotions and feelings and really navigate those or even understand where they came from in my life. And because I didn't understand them, I'm like, oh God, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. I kept saying this all the time. There's something wrong with me. And I think I convinced myself until I started to understand myself. So yeah, I think that's a very big thing in itself. The language is very important.
Yeah, and we've spoken. We don't want to speak ill of anyone, but we have also noticed that there is parts of the industry that's quite tarnished when it comes to men's work. And I know that you're involved in some things over here on the East Coast about 16 years ago. That was it was men's group and it was a men's retreat, and it was a horrible, horrible experience for you, which left you quite traumatized from that.
Yeah, traumatized and a couple of broken ribs. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. And there's, you hear things in the industry, you hear of, I guess, men that perhaps are still on their healing journey or understanding of self or, integrating ego, attempting to lead other men, and it's almost I guess spreading like a virus at times. And so when we invite people into our space, and there will be a day when we bring on more facilitators of the work that we do, it's to ensure that men are feeling supported to work with integrity.
Absolutely.
It's so high for us, and I've always been on the outside of the coaching industry, especially here in Queensland, Southeast Queensland. Not on the outside. Like I've always been in my own lane. I've done my own thing, and I haven't joined the cliquey groups, because it's just not been a comfortable place where I felt that I could land in integrity. And then when you and I connected and we were both in a similar frame of mind with that, we're like, okay, what does it look like to do our own thing, run our own race and be in our own lane together, and just, I guess change the culture a little bit or invite people into a different way of being. And it's not about, just recycling stuff like that we've just learned for the sake of it. Like where we are so passionate about empowering, whether it's men or women, empowering people to go inwards, find their stuff. It's not that we just, want to regurgitate bits and pieces that we've learned before.
No, and you're right. It's all about empowerment.
Yeah.
It always is. I'm not the healer. Nor is Jen. Like, we
never
are not
claim
healers.
To be.
We can't fix anyone here. But what we can do is we can steer you on your own journey of personal discovery.
Steer you back into yourself.
Yeah,
like that's
right.
what it is. And that's what we're so passionate about. And I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah. And so, we're going to, take a short break in between seasons as always. And, Cass and I are in this incredible, I guess, chrysalis, really.
Yeah.
We're in a chrysalis at the moment of not just in our own relationship, but also in how we work together in the world. Like we've been seeing each other for over a year. We're still doing the long distance thing. We're still in different states and we're still navigating what that looks like. And but at the same time, our missions that are so much bigger than just our human selves has been calling us forward. And the more we step in and lean in and feel into it and talk about it and share what's real for us and get excited for what we want to bring forward, the more, I guess, we're landing in it, you know, so much quicker. And that's why we wanted to share this on this episode, that there's going to be a lot of epic stuff coming to fruition next year when that butterfly spreads its wings.
Absolutely. It's just authentic growth. And it's always growth. And it seems to be building momentum all the time.
Yeah.
Like I notice every time we get to share all these experiences that we are, it's just adding like another pillar of strength, a more solid foundation in this.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing. But I am so excited to be able to impart all of that.
And it's also something that we wanted to make sure that we weren't rushing into as well.
Mm.
You know, through any new relationship, you're in a space of getting to know each other, learning about each other, integrating lives with each other, and it's not something that we wanted to rush into just because it was new and exciting and that it felt good. It's like we've really landed in our relationship, and now it's like, okay, what is bringing, both, like, combining our magic and bringing that to the world? What does that look like?
Yeah, beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
I agree completely.
Yeah, so we're really excited for what that holds. So we are going to take a short break for a little while, and you'll hear more episodes. We promise you'll hear more episodes from both of us into the new season. And we really want to bring the messaging, back to living that enlightened journey of life, and, what it looks like to really embody self-mastery. And that is through Tantra and the beautiful teachings of Tantra. That's through, the stories that we get to share. Like, we've both got some pretty epic stories to share, and to be more open about our journey as well, because it's like we haven't got here without epic challenge along the way. It's not been smooth sailing the whole time. And it's the challenges that we get to grow through that have only made us stronger, hey?
Yeah, well, that's where all the wisdom is cultivated from, isn't it? All those challenges we've been able to move through and integrate over all these years really defines the person you are today into supporting others.
Yeah.
But that's only once all those very things that we may have seen as wounds, we're able to process and then reintegrate and return to a space of wholeness instead of being led by those wounds and those really difficult challenges throughout our lives.
Yeah. So we're very excited. So we thank you so much for being on the journey with us this season. It's been an incredible season 3. As I said earlier, I have loved having so many amazing guests on the show, so many beautiful stories and pieces of wisdom shared. And we will see you in season 4.
Can't wait.
See you then. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you love the Enlightenment podcast, and the biggest compliment you can give me is subscribing to this podcast, sharing it, and leaving a rating and review. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @JenHamiltonOfficial, and the podcast handle is Enlightenment_podcast. You can also find the video version on YouTube on my channel. Just search Enlightenment, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a beautiful day and enjoy living the enlightened journey of life.